Hello, everybody. It's one of the best days of the month. It is Troop Talk Live today. Today's episode is super relevant for all of our scouting volunteers. This is one you're going to want to tune into or tag somebody in the comments if you think they should attend the course we're going to talk about today. We're joined by two very special guests. We've got Christy, who's an assistant scoutmaster of a troop in Washington State, and she's been involved in the course for, this will be her third year, I believe. And then yes. Stephen as well. He serves on several committees in the Cascade Pacific Council. He's been there the whole time. This will be the fourth year. And they are both part of 6 staff members who facilitate the Opening Doors Conference. If you're watching this and you're like, what is the Opening Doors course? What is that? It happens at Philmont. This is what I know. I know more, but I'm going to pretend. It happens at Philmont Training Center. It runs June 16th through the 22nd this year. You can still register to attend. But Christy, what is the course?
So really, to talk about Opening Doors, I think it's important to start with where it came from. So in January of 2020, we had the first Linked Troop Model Wood Badge course, which was held at the Summit in Bechtel Reserve. Stephen was a participant on that course, and I was one of the troop guides. And really the goal for that course was we had just invited the females into Scouts BSA and created this new thing called a Linked Troop. And everyone was like, how is that linked troop supposed to work? What does it look like? And so we joined together at the summit, and there were so many interesting conversations that came out of that course. Some of them were very basic things like, how do we camp? How do we have our meetings? But also with it came some of the challenges that girls and women were facing as we joined Scouts BSA. And that included really simple things like bathrooming facilities at camp, right? Outdoor bathrooming if you're going on backpacking trips. But also with it came a lot of surprise, I think, amongst some of the people that have engaged in scouting, that women and girls were not always feeling welcomed into this program. There was a lot of really positive energy, but also we were hearing a lot of alarming stories about girls going into their first summer camp and really feeling like they just weren't welcome. And so after that, the people involved in the course got together and thought, this is a really good opportunity to start some conversations about, okay, we let the girls in, now what? And so really the course started in 2020 after that. And Stephen was a part of that first course. So I'll let him talk a little bit about what that first year was like.
So yeah, first course was 2021. And, like every course, it's sort of a learning, there's a learning curve. And I think one of the things that, and one of the questions is, what's one of my favorite memories of this course? In 2021, there wasn't what I call the breakthrough moment until Thursday of the course, when we almost the entire class hiked up Hart Peak, which is the lowest named peak at Philmont Scout Ranch, right outside of Pony Hill. And on the way back to the buses after that, wow, that everybody was working together as a team. And I thought, geez, let's see if we can push this forward. And so we kind of did some alchemy with the 22 course to push the breakthrough moment earlier in the week. And I'll tell you, by last year, Christy can attest to this, the breakthrough moment where everybody was working for a team happened by the end of Monday, like the first day of the course. And it was really a powerful experience to see, like, after 4 years or 3 years of putting on the course, to see like those breakthroughs occurring right at the top of the week, so that then there's all these like conversations happening at lunch and the meals at the Philmont Training Center. Is pretty awesome.
You both have such an interesting perspective because, yes, you are staff members, for the course, but you're both volunteers with boots on the ground when it comes to the council and the unit level. So you're seeing this, you're probably seeing like a diversity of people from all over the country at this course, and you're seeing how it's happening where you live. It's just been a kind of a cultural shift. You touched on it, where things that used to be taboo to talk about we realize they shouldn't be. They probably should never have been, but they definitely can't be now as we're trying to serve all kinds of youth. So, since I've heard about the Opening Doors course, I've been super passionate about, these are such important conversations to be having. I'm really excited to get to talk to you all. I know our viewers are pumped about this. And our viewers are probably sitting there wondering, can I go to something like this? Who is the Opening Doors course for? What participants generally take this course?
The right answer is everyone. We have had everything from brand new Scout BSA volunteers. We have had board chair members. Our staff includes Kayleen Dethridge, who is on the national board. We have men, women, young, older people. Really, it's for anyone who either is feeling like we need to create more inclusive environments, anyone actively doing that, or anyone struggling to do that. The thing about this course is we really just believe that our program serves youth, period, right? If we think that this program serves youth, period, then we have to figure out how to deliver it to all youth, to be inclusive to all youth. And that is, like we just talked about, it's a huge variety of what the barriers to scouting are. It can be as simple as a bathroom or as complex as not being able to find a unit in your area. And the thing about this staff is we are small. There are 6 of us, but we are experienced and we come in with an idea of what we're trying to accomplish. But I can promise you, as Stephen said last year, we met over lunch and we pivoted. We will provide the course that our participants want, and whatever they're dealing with, as long as it has to do with what we're talking about, we will absolutely change what we need to do, have different conversations that we need to have, and really pivot to make sure that we're meeting all of our participants with wherever they are in their scouting career.
Yeah, and I guess I would add to that, it's not just volunteers. We've had professionals take the course as well, several of them. And so it's kind of nice when you have like a diverse, not only male, female ages. We've had, as young as 18 and as old as like, I think 74. So there's like a diversity of age groups, but also like volunteers and professionals both have taken the course.
Great distinction. Yes, we've seen the enrollee list previously, and it is all kinds. Again, volunteers with boots on the ground to board members, and it's just pretty cool to see. It's very neat that you all have the agility to tailor the course to who is attending. I believe the course is about eliminating barriers to joining scouting, and those can look like a lot of different things, like you said, Christy. I want to remind everybody this video that we're watching right now will stay up after we're live today. So feel free to tag somebody who you think could benefit from joining the course or enrolling in the course. There are still spots available. We'll drop a link in the comments that can take you to the course's Facebook page, which we might talk a little bit more about, where you could ask questions, get some insight, meet the community. There's also the link to register there. And then there's some more information about what this course is. Your comments are rolling in. We're going to get to some of those in just a second, but also shout out to Aaron for dropping that blog link in the comments. Everybody definitely check that out. That's some further reading after today, or hopefully you're just sold and you want to register. I want to address maybe, I don't know if it's the elephant in the room. For some, probably it's a no-brainer. For some men watching out there, they're thinking, am I going to feel weird going to this? Am I going to be, is it okay? Stephen, I think there is no better person to speak to that than you.
Yeah, well, it is, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to be in a course at Philmont, and you are, men, you will definitely be outnumbered. Like the women will outnumber you probably 15-1. And that's sort of cool, like to actually be in a space where you look around and there are men who are in there. And generally for the men, I think that our perspective, or at least my perspective, has been we're the ones that open doors for the most part for underrepresented people in the movement. So, whether it be for women or people of different ages, we have an obligation. And we touch about, there's a module that Ellie Morrison put together called Mentors, Allies, and Friends. And she and I put that on last year. And then Ashley Stegerwald and I did that module at the Wood Badge course at the Summit Bechtel Reserve. And basically it talks about how men have a role in the Mentors, Allies, and Friends space, and women have a role, of course, as well. And so everybody has a role, everybody has something to do. And yeah, you don't need to feel awkward just because you look around the room and there's only like 3 men in there. Just be like happy that that's happening.
Well, I certainly hope that you wouldn't feel that way, but I think it's realistic to think if you're a man in a room of only women, you might have, I think it's going to pass for you based on the people who are there, but you might have that moment where you're like, wow, I'm the only guy here. This is a little awkward. And it's probably a great chance to put yourself in the shoes of, hey, a lot of women in scouting have probably felt this way. And a lot of people who are outsiders to scouting have felt this way attending their first unit meeting. It can be a whole foreign world. Now, the credit I give to scouters, men and women, is they do a great job pretty quickly making you feel welcome. Generally, I feel like so. Very cool perspective. If you all have questions about that kind of thing, drop them in the comments. We're here to answer, and we can get back with you after the show today if we need to as well. I have seen the lineup of sessions that take place at Opening Doors. I'm dying to go. Can we talk a little bit about what types of sessions happening during the course?
Absolutely. So as Stephen said, we've just evolved. So we often kind of pick the theme, and then every year we sit down and we talk about what worked, what didn't work, what we really saw from the last course. There's been a huge change in the movement since 2020, right? We're 5 years in to girls being invited into Scouts BSA. So we're not still having that same initial conversation, and it's really important to evolve. Some very exciting news came out from the National Annual Meeting that we're all very excited about. So, the next evolution is happening right now as we speak. As we talk about in Wood Badge, it's embrace and lead change. And that's really what this course is about. So one of our more popular courses is called Imposter Syndrome. And I have to say, I suffer from imposter syndrome, and I didn't know what it was until I staffed this course. So a lot of times, I think particularly women coming into this movement feel like we have to be the example, perfect, know everything coming in. I have to put my tent up. I have to know how to go to the bathroom in the woods. I have to be good at mentoring youth. And really the idea is talking about what that looks like, is it often will prevent women and be a barrier to women getting involved in this movement. We also have a conversation about what it means to create your own wolf pack. That's one of Kayleen Dethridge's sessions. As Stephen said, women also have a responsibility for lifting each other up. It is not a limited number of women that can be involved in this movement. The number of times I talk to young women who are suggesting that part of the problem is not having enough women to go on campouts or do their activities suggests we have a lot of places to add women in this movement. We also talk about, I keep bringing it up, but one of the sessions we do on our outdoor day at Philmont is talking about bathrooming. And this isn't just talking about, backpacking, but what are we seeing at camps? Are girls still having the same problems, finding the same bathroom accommodations and acceptable things like that? What can we do about that? We also have a lot of conversations about underrepresented communities and what it means to really have a courageous conversation about some of those topics. And Stephen mentioned it earlier, but one of my favorite sessions is the session that he does on what it means to be a mentor and ally in scouting.
Stephen, you want to speak to that a little bit more? I know you touched on it, but I think probably a lot of viewers, men and women, all kinds of people think, I kind of support what you're doing, but it's not my place to speak on it. Do you have any comments on that?
Not my place to speak on.
Right. Get involved. What does allyship look like? I suppose is really the question. And, it isn't necessarily feeling like, yeah, but I'm just going to kind of watch. Like I'm okay with kind of whatever happens.
Yeah. So Christy, I think spoke on that a little bit just now. Women. There was a feeling at one point that there was just a limited number of seats at the scouting table, and if somebody was in a seat, then that means you don't have a seat to sit in. And what this course has explored over the last 3 years is, no, we can just put new leaves in that table. Like during Thanksgiving, when you expand the table and add more seats around there. And so women can be allies to each other without fear that if you boost someone else up, that means that your seat is going to be taken away. And then women, finding mentors, finding someone that can help you, can be an advocate for you, or can sometimes, Christy knows this, Kayleen certainly knows this, someone that can put a boot in your back and like push you forward and say, look, you know what, this is your opportunity. You need to take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think I'll add to that because Stephen and I also do I think it's both of our personal passions, which is upstanding. So we do a session on upstanding at Philmont, which talks about, unfortunately, our youth are dealing with incredible amounts of stress and anxiety if you look at the numbers that comes out. And so one thing we talk about is what it means to be an upstander. And this is for adults, but it's also talking about youth. If you ever read the Boy Scout volunteer Facebook pages, right, a lot of bullying and other issues are going on in units. We cannot assume that our volunteers are automatically given, as they join the unit, the information as to how to handle all of these things. So we talk about what it means to be an upstander, we talk a lot about what it means to be a youth right now. We cannot stick our heads in the sand. If we are trying to serve all of our youth, we have to know what they're dealing with. And we have to equip our adult leaders to make sure that they know how to handle these situations.
That's such a fabulous point. I'm sure that's, you guys delve into that a bit more in the course, but I think, yeah, great point. Being an upstander, I think we all generally know what that means, and it very much aligns with the values of scouting and what we ask of our scouts. But are we practicing it, and how we are embracing scouts who are coming into the program, and scouters, other volunteers? Okay, you touched on it. You said Philmont. I think that a lot of our viewers, some of our viewers at least, have been to Philmont Training Center. Many have not. Many of you all are brand new volunteers, I know. Why is this course held up at Philmont? And, do the participants who attend get to check out Philmont at all? Recently, having gone myself, I'm, crossing my fingers. The answer is yes. But Christy, let us know.
Yes. Philmont is one of my favorite places. I can say it's Stevens as well. And actually, the first year I ever went to Philmont was when I was staffing for this course. And this year I am not only staffing, I am going on my first trek, which is somewhat terrifying. Yes, the answer is yes. What's really great about the Philmont Training Center courses is we have a full day that usually ends around 3:30 of course material. We can spend time at lunch talking about things kind of offline without, the fixed agenda. But also a lot of times our participants want to hang out together on the ranch in the evenings, have dinner together, do some activities, sometimes go into town. And my favorite day is on Thursday. On Thursday, we all go out, usually to Ponil at the ranch, and we spend a day offsite. And with that comes an opportunity for some people to hike. So as Stephen said, we often will hike Hart Peak. But sometimes people come and are not up for hiking or not interested in hiking. And so they actually stay back at base camp at Ponil, where we have a lot of really great conversations, a chance to wander around camp. And then last year, Stephen tried something new, which worked really well, which was doing a little bit of introduction to outdoor leadership skills. Because again, we're talking about removing barriers. And part of that is having the skill set that sometimes we feel a little bit nervous about. So I'll let Stephen talk about that part.
Yeah, so let me unpack that a little bit. So Kayleen and I, the first time we went to Philmont was 2012, and we took OA Advisor Conference training there, which, going back to what I said about men being in a room and you look around and, wow, there's 2 guys in a room and there's 15, 16 women. Well, in 2012, there was Kayleen and 43 men. And so she really looked around. But so then we took another conference in 2013, and we took another one in 18. 13 was search and rescue training at Philmont, and 18 was orienteering. You know why we picked those 2 courses? Because we knew we get in the backcountry and for a day and be able to get out there and see the ranch. So when this course was designed in 21, one of the things I told Kayleen is, if you want me to be a participant in your course, there better be a backcountry day. So as Christy says, we go out to Ponil, load up on the school buses that the crews that go out on treks take. They take us out to Ponil, which is in the North Country, and we spend a whole day there from about probably 9 o'clock until 4 o'clock. And part of the crew hikes Hart Peak. The rest of us stay at Ponil. There's this root beer cantina. It's kind of cool. Like Ellie Morrison has joined us the last 3 years, and she loves it because she can sit there on the porch at the space between the trading post and the cantina and talk to crews as they're coming off trail. And so it's fun. You get out there, and then we also teach just sort of basic skills like lighting a whisper light. Those things are terrifying to light. And when you get the fuel in the canister and you got to heat it up and it burns, and you think it's going to explode the fuel bottle. We work with things like that, tying a few basic knots, orienting a map and compass, so that there's some basic skills, just in case, there's people that don't really have those and they don't feel comfortable teaching those to the kids in their units.
The pictures just show just how fun this event is. And I imagine everybody, the attendees and the staff leave the course and are just so bonded. And it's just like a bittersweet trying to say goodbye to each other, knowing all the great things you've learned, you're going to implement. But I'm sure that these classes get, tight after all of this fun at Philmont. Philmont probably does that to you in talking about important topics. I want to shout out in the comments again, we have a blog post with a little bit of further reading. It has some testimonials from folks who have attended the course, so you can hear about what did they learn? How did they implement it when they went home? We have a link to the registration in the comments now. And then there's also a link to the Facebook page. I want to throw this question out at you all. Who's the Facebook page for? Who can join that? And what kind of conversations are happening there?
The Facebook page is for everyone. It is a really good place to learn about our past courses. We have a couple of videos posted on there from one of our staff members who interviewed past participants who talked about what that course meant for them. And like you just mentioned, once you've attended this course, you're a member of the family forever. I actually had lunch on this week with one of our participants from last year, just checking in with her. Again, part of our goal is to mentor. So when we find the opportunity to create these relationships, it really does become a member of your family.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've seen the conversation on the page, and it's alive and well. This is a yes or no question. Is it safe to say both the Facebook page and attending the course, you're not going to get that vibe if you're an attendee who's going in there not knowing anybody, like, ooh, you shouldn't be here. Is that right?
Absolutely. We have I would say most of the people that attend are single individuals not coming with a group. And they are immediately, invited into the family. And we work really hard to create small group conversations. And we generally mix those groups up so that you get to know everyone in the class. And it is also nice to have this smaller group setting. Of course, we want everyone to register and attend, but no matter how big the course gets, we have come up with a lot of different plans on how to make sure we're keeping those groups small and intimate. We do talk about sensitive topics sometimes, and it's really important to make sure that everyone feels like they can share where they're at.
Yeah, probably, one prerequisite is having a sense of maturity coming into the class. I feel like other than that, I mean, you follow the Scout oath and law, you're going to be good. Also, just, let me ask for myself, if you don't have this tremendous scouting legacy, but you're maybe a new volunteer, is this a place for you to go and feel like, yeah, I'm going to understand what's going on. This is going to make sense to me?
I think actually that's probably one of the more perfect people to attend. We talked about the fact that in 2020, we invited girls into Scouts BSA, right? We invited them. But we talk about being invited to the dance is not being the same as being asked to dance, right? And so a lot of times someone will sign up to volunteer. They may have no scouting background, no real idea of what it is they've just agreed to do. And then we throw acronyms, uniform policies, complex things, IOLS, ILST, wood badge, and we don't tell them what it is, right? We just kind of, OA. So one thing is really making sure that we aren't just inviting people in, but we're welcoming them to the dance and getting them involved. And so this course really does that. We start from scratch. We've had everything from new volunteers to people that have been engaged in this movement for a really long time. And the really beautiful thing is both groups come out just as rejuvenated and excited about talking about this movement. And again, we're in a really exciting time right now. As Kayleen says, we want to be tradition rich and not tradition bound. So this is a really good time to talk about how we break through these barriers. And the really beautiful thing to me is it's not a week of sitting around and complaining, right? It is a week of really getting the momentum to figure out how we can make the changes that will allow our oath and law to serve every single youth member in this country.
Beautifully said. And you both have emphasized this throughout today's show, but there's a seat for everyone at this table. You may not have a long scouting legacy. You may, and there's room for you here. You may not fit. You may have a stereotype in your head of what scouts look like. Break that. It can be anybody. All of your gifts are a gift to scouting. Thank you for giving that clarification in that room. For all of our viewers, people who aren't even viewing right now, who should be, that hopefully you're going to tag in the comments to feel welcome at this course. I want to go back. You both actually talked about memories throughout today's show. It's just woven into, reflecting on the course, obviously. But are there any memories you want to call out, maybe a favorite memory from a past course?
Yeah, I think mine was from last year. So last year, we happened to be there when the rededication of the Scouting Museum occurred. And we took the group over, we did a tour of the Scouting Museum, and there was these two women that were just sort of following along. And I was like, I wonder who they are. And Russell Smart was giving us the tour, which is kind of cool. And at the end, Russell turns to these women and he says, and these two women are part of Philmont history. It was Kathy Leach and Nancy Wells, who were the first two female rangers at Philmont in 1972. And so Kayleen invited them and Chastity McReynolds for the Wednesday. I call it the firing line, where you're sitting there and questions are answered. You're talking to the people in the class, and it was just cool to look there and see Kathy Leach, Nancy Wells, Kayleen, Chastity McReynolds, and Ellie Morrison sitting out there in front of the class and answering any questions that they were throwing at them. That was really cool.
That's wild.
Yeah,
in the museum, no less.
And for me, I think it was in 2022. I remember that on Monday, we asked people who wants to go on the hike on Thursday, because there's a little extra meal planning that happens. And I think that year only 2 or 3 people raised their hand on Monday. It was this kind of trepidation. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I'll hold people back. I don't know if I'll be successful. And it really made me connect to the fact that is how our youth often feel, right? We're asking them to do something they maybe aren't sure they can do. And then it was interesting that by Thursday, I think the bulk of the class ended up feeling like they could go, because by then they felt like it was a safe place and they knew they were supported. And I think that was a really good reminder of making sure that that's also the same environment we're creating in our youth program, so that every single person feels like they can make the choice that's right for them. And it's not fear that's holding them back or a lack of support.
Another beautiful memory. This is awesome. I know you are full of them. And again, I'm seeing your cameos in both sets of pictures that we've been scrolling through here. So I know that everyone's having a great time out there. Our viewers, I see some of you tagging folks in the comments. Please keep that coming. We have a lot of people watching right now. Again, we're talking about the Opening Doors course, which takes place June 16th through 22nd this summer at Philmont Training Center. After today's show is live, you'll be able to rewind this video and watch throughout. We also have a link to a blog post that can give you a little bit of a framework on the course, as well as the link to register. People can still register, right?
Absolutely. Everyone is welcome. As I said, we have a lot of plans for how we will handle all the people that are going to register today. And really all it means is that there will be more people out there making sure that we are giving our youth the absolute best program that they can have in scouting.
I see some conversation about duty to God and the diversity of religion in scouting. I think that probably has a place, within the conversations at the Opening Doors course as well. Kind of a final question to leave you both. I'd love to hear both of your answers on, why should someone sign up for this course?
Again, I'm going to go back to the same thing. We are all in this program because we believe in giving our youth opportunities to live the Scout oath and law, to have these wonderful life experiences. And to do that, they need trained leaders. They need trained leaders who are not only, given the opportunity to take them camping, but can also help fulfill all of the social, emotional needs and a lot of the complex dynamics that our youth are dealing with. And this program is a really wonderful way to have those conversations that are really important to making sure that we are giving the youth the program that they deserve.
And in addition to what Christy said, you get to spend a week at Philmont, which is scouting paradise. You get to get out in the backcountry. You get to make lifetime friends. And you get to explore topics that there's really no other place that I'm aware of in scouting where these topics. We tackle everything. So it's a week well worth spending at Philmont.
Yeah, when we're talking about breaking down the barriers to scouting, I think it's safe to say no one is an expert and no one can master this. And you're never going to say, okay, I've checked that box, I'm done. It's part of what we do every single day when we're working with youth and other adults and just in life in general. So thank you for keeping this course going. I know I need to let you go. We're about to run over. Is there anything else that we need to say before we let the good people go?
Sign up. It'll be an absolutely amazing week at Philmont.
Yep. Hope to see you at Philmont.
Christy, Stephen, thank you so much. Viewers, thank you so much. Those links to register and learn more are in the comments wherever you are watching. Thank you for joining Troop Talk Live this week. All our past episodes are online. It's been a pleasure. This has been a fun episode. There's so many of you. I'm sad to say goodbye, but it's that time. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.